Hello and welcome. My name is Melissa from Woods and Wool, and today I'm going to be talking all about Rhinebeck. Now, this was my second year attending Rhinebeck, and I had such an amazing time and can't wait to share it with you. But first of all, what is Rhinebeck? So Rhinebeck is often used as an all-encompassing term that captures the New York Sheep and Wool Festival that happens every fall in upstate New York, in Rhinebeck, New York, as well as other independent events that happen in the same time frame in the same area of New York. So I'll be breaking down the events that I went to, and I'll also be showing you what I made to wear, what I bought, and giving you some little tidbits along the way of my experience. Last year was my first year attending Rhinebeck, and I went with my mom last year. It was amazing. So of course we went together again this year. She is always my go-to buddy for any yarn events. She does a lot of knitting, and so it's really fun to go with another maker that can kind of share the experience with you and get excited about yarn in the same way that you do. So we drove from here in Michigan to New York. It's a long but beautiful drive, and we had smooth travels this year, which was really wonderful and all we could ask for, as well as great weather this year. Last year was our first year attending, and it pretty much rained the entire weekend, whereas this year was bright, sunny, and warm the whole time. So it was really nice to experience the event in both conditions, and I'll explain more about that once we get into it. Now, before I talk about the events, I have to share with you what I made to wear to them. A lot of people will make a specific sweater for Rhinebeck that they call their Rhinebeck sweater. You'll see tons of people wearing their Rhinebeck sweaters proudly at the events, and it's really inspiring, and you just get to see all the creativity throughout the maker community and just how special it is that people made their outfits with their own hands. It just always gets me excited. So I keep it simple. To me, a Rhinebeck sweater is just a little bit more than I can tackle in this season of life. I think the deadline would stress me out a little bit. So I like to make an accessory to wear to Rhinebeck, and I'll show you the one I made this year. So this one was very special. This is the short story scarf, the crochet version. And this was a collaboration with Sorella Yarns. So each day there was a countdown to Rhinebeck box with a mini skein for each day, and we unwrapped one mini skein a day and made this scarf to wear to Rhinebeck. Now, if this looks familiar, it might be because it's a sister pattern to my One More Chapter Infinity scarf, which is kind of the little sister to the short story scarf. And both use Sorella yarn, both use mini skeins, and both are available forever in my Etsy and Ravelry. So I'll link these in the description box, as well as anything else I'm mentioning if you want to get more information. But if you like mini skeins and you like infinity scarves, these are just wonderful. And one of the reasons I love making a scarf for Rhinebeck is because it's so easy to take on and off. It's easy to, I guess, dress lightly in your other layers. So this year was very warm. So there was part of the day I was literally wearing a t-shirt and my scarf, and that was fine. That was totally fine. But I was happy that I didn't have to stay committed to something super big or super warm, and I could just take my scarf on and off easily. So these look so beautiful when they're all wrapped around your neck, and you can kind of see which different colors are showcased. I love this scarf, and you can use any mini skeins you want. This one uses 15. And the One More Chapter uses 12 and has smaller stripes. So that was my main piece. I was so excited to wear it. And we actually did a meetup at the New York Sheep and Wool Festival where other makers that made the short story scarf, we all met up on the hill, took a picture with Ashley of Sorella, and it will forever be such a special moment and memory for me, and this project just really captures that. So that's the other cool thing about if you choose to make a project for Rhinebeck, it really just feels extra special. Even when you get to wear it after that, it's a fun way to commemorate the experience. So this again is a short story scarf, and it is so special to me. The next thing I brought was a small but mighty project. And this is a project I've actually made several of. This is my 630 scarf. This one's actually made in Mitchell Wool Cormo, which is a DK weight yarn. You can use any DK weight wool. And it's like a little, this one's a little easier to get on and off for you quickly than putting a scarf over my head. So it's just a little mini scarf. These are so cute, so fun to make, so fun to wear. And this one is actually a Tunisian pattern. So I have made, I think 3 of these now, maybe 4. And they're just so fun. For the same reason I wore an infinity scarf, it's just super fun to make something quick, easy that you can take on and off, layer up, layer down, whatever you need to do throughout the day. And worst case scenario, you just take it off and put it in your bag and you can just carry on with your day. So this is a 630 scarf and I wore this one to a couple events. Now, the last thing I made, or I brought, I didn't actually make. My mom made it. And I just thought it'd be fun to wear. This is a knit pattern by Andrea Mowry. And this is the DRK Everyday Scarf. And my mom made this in a Sorella colorway. I think it's called Jazz in the Park from the Autumn in New York collection a couple years ago. So it's a really cool asymmetrical cowl and I love the style of these. Again, just something light and easy that I can put on, take off as needed throughout the events. So I'll show you just the 3 together here. 3 different handmade objects I got to wear and they don't take up too much space in your bag when you're just bringing accessories. So that's a little perk, and for me this works out really well. They're things I get excited about to wear but don't feel like an overwhelming commitment to try and make. And I really like to make one project for Rhinebeck, not like 3 separate ones for the different days. So these 2 I already had and they were already made and I just packed them and wore them. This one I made special to wear. Now, in addition to wearing handmade accessories, which was my choice, I like to keep it really simple with my wardrobe. So I wore a t-shirt and jeans. I wore a cardigan over that again, I could put on and off as needed. And I just kept it really simple with some basic neutral tops, jeans, and then the first day I wore some cute Chelsea style boots and my feet were so tired by the end of the day. They're very comfortable boots, but my feet were just over it. So the next day, Sunday, I wore tennis shoes and I was so glad I did. So dress for comfort, you'll be so glad you did. And be sure to bring things along like a backpack or a tote bag, a water bottle, and anything else you might need to keep yourself comfortable, hydrated, and any snacks as needed because there's food trucks, but sometimes those lines do get long. Let's talk a little bit more about the specific events that I attended. So on Friday, I went to Untangled and I went to Untangled last year as well. So I was really excited because Untangled is an independent event that features a lot of independent yarn dyers and artists. And it is just a very well curated event. Now, the other thing about Untangled that you should know is that there are timed tickets. So that means that you get to pick your ticket based on the time slot you want to go to. Now, I can't remember, I think it was about a 2-hour time slot. But it was, let's say, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. or 12 to 2 p.m. And your ticket specifically gets you in just for that time at the event. Now, my mom and I decided to go to Rhinebeck this year a little bit last minute, so I ended up getting the very last time slot of the day, which worked out just fine. The vendors are sold out of some things at that point, which is to be expected, but you get the perk that the crowds are a little bit lighter then. So what's nice about the time tickets is it does keep the capacity down, but there's still quite a few people, and as you can imagine, with a short time frame, it gives me a little bit of an adrenaline rush to see everything and make quick decisions, which as an indecisive person is a challenge for me. So I didn't end up buying very much at Untangled, but I did get to see some vendors that I was so excited to. I bumped into a lot of people that I hadn't seen in a long time. So honestly, I was just really caught up in the excitement and catching up with people. And I have to give a shout out because there were several Michigan vendors there, and there might have been more, but I specifically remember seeing Mitchell Wool, which is one of my favorites, and the yarn behind the 630 scarf that I just showed you. And then I also saw Why Not Fibers. She has incredible yarn and colorways, as well as North Bay Fiber, which again, incredible yarn and colorways. And each of them uses US sourced wool. Mitchell Wool actually has their own wool from their own sheep and their own flock. So I was just especially proud, and it made my heart so happy to see these Michigan vendors just shining there. Their booths looked incredible. I'm sure they were so tired, but they just did a phenomenal job, and I was really proud of them, and I'm always proud to support any local makers. So that was very cool. Now, the one thing I did buy at Indian Tangled, the only thing I bought from Indian Tangled was this. And these are from Porter Wool, and they are called Spray Your Stash. It's a bug repelling fabric refresher for your woolens. Now, I bought her wool wash last year, and she makes just incredible scents, and I can't remember all the details, but she was sharing with me like her process of creating them and the high quality ingredients that she puts into these, and they are just phenomenal. So I got Winter Walk, and I got Whispering Woods. And if I remember correctly, I'm gonna double check before I tell you so I don't mix up the scents. Okay, Whispering Woods is a very lavender forward scent, which lavender is pretty much my favorite scent. It's always my go-to scent of anything, but it has to be a very clean, fresh, true smelling lavender. So Whispering Woods gives you that true lavender scent, and it also has, I think, a little bit of cedar or something in it. So it's very, very nice. And then the other one I got, Winter Walk. I'm just gonna smell it again since I have it here. Oh, yes, it feels like a walk in the forest. It's very woodsy, and you get all like maybe some pine, some cedar, all of those types of tones in here, and I love those woodsy smells. So these two were right up my alley, and these are just something you can spritz on your stash to kind of freshen it up a little bit. And again, they're meant to be bug repelling as well, which is always really nice. So that is all I got from Indian Tangled, and it was such a phenomenal event. I could have stayed there all day long, but I was just so excited and so caught up in talking with everyone that I didn't end up buying anything else, but I'm sure I could have spent all day there and could have gotten a lot more. Next up was Saturday, which is the first day of the New York Sheep and Wool Festival. And again, this is right in Rhinebeck, New York. So this is the big day. Last year when I went to New York Sheep and Wool Festival, I didn't really have much of a plan. I was very much go with the flow, which I think served me really well because there's a lot of people, a lot of vendors to see, and a lot of amazing things to choose from. So this year, I tried to stay true with the go with the flow mentality, and I thought that was a little bit more low stress for me, but there was one vendor that I picked out that I had seen last year, and I had to go to their booth right away because they had a specific colorway just for Rhinebeck. So there's quite a few vendors that will release special products or special colorways just for the New York Sheep and Wool Festival. So if you are interested in an exclusive colorway like that or an exclusive product, you best get to the booth right away, first thing, because they tend to sell out really fast. Now, I was so excited. Again, this was a vendor I saw for the first time last year, and they are Junction Fiber Mill. So they are a fiber mill based in Vermont, and they have an incredible podcast here on YouTube, which they call their Millcast, and it's with the owners, Peggy and Amanda, and they just have the best personalities and passion. And again, they first caught my eye last year at Rhinebeck. And when I found their podcast or their Millcast afterwards, I just felt like I could keep enjoying their yarns and what they had to say. And it just carried that energy from Rhinebeck in each of their conversations and videos because they're just delightful to listen to, and they're just as delightful in person. So I had to go straight to their booth because they had a Rhinebeck exclusive colorway, and I believe it's called Cider Donuts. So I went with the intention of just getting a skein, and of course I got 3, as one does. So this is what they look like. Junction Fiber Mill does these gorgeous spun yarns, and I love the way they look. Every single skein is unique. So while they do sell their yarn online, it's extra special to go in person and get to pick out the exact skeins that you want. So some of the skeins they had were more orange, some were more brown, some had a lot of contrast, some were more muted, and I kind of went for something in between. So I don't have a specific plan for these yet, but I'm thinking I might pair them with like a solid brown color, and I don't know, I could do anything from a cardigan to a lap blanket, anything with these. If you have ideas, let me know. And of course, since I was there already, I did get more yarn from them because, again, I was so excited. They were my like #1 vendor that I just wanted to go and see first. So the next yarn, this one I wasn't expecting, but it just caught my eye. This one is called Second Winter. And this one was really unique. I love this skein in particular because I just love the right balance of the dark charcoal and the light grays in here. So yeah, they had some that were really dark charcoal with just little pops of the lighter colors, and then they had some that were more light. And then again, this one was a really cool in-between color. I'll see if I can show you these closer up. I'm not sure how it'll focus, but so excited. Again, I didn't have a plan for this one. I just spoke to me. But this would be really cute for anything from like a little 630 scarf, or you could do a hat, really anything. So I know I'll find the perfect project for it. And until then, I'll admire looking at it in my stash. Next was one more thing from Junction Fiber Mill. I got a little excited in their booth. So these 2 colorways are called Hydrangea. I absolutely love them, and I got this cream natural color to go with them. So these are, I should have told you, all of these are called Making Tracks, and this is 100% American wool. It's a heavy DK weight and 200 yards per, I think, 100 gram skein. I'm pretty sure. Again, I'll link everything in the description so you can get all the latest and greatest information on everything I'm showing you there. This one is Making Tracks as well, and this is just the undyed. So I thought these would be really fun together. So pretty. So that was everything I got from Junction Fiber Mill, and the only other thing I got on Saturday was my mom got me this little project bag. This has the New York Sheep and Wool 2024 logo on it. Every year they have different artists make a new logo, and I thought this one was so cute. So my mom and I both got these little project bags. And then at the very last minute on the way out, I saw these mittens and I had to get them. I love mittens, and these have like the fleece inside, but they're made out of a sweater, I think. And I'm sorry, the tag fell off, so I don't remember the vendor I got these from, but they're so pretty and I absolutely love them. I love mittens. So that was really exciting. Now I'll start sharing with you, well, actually, before I get to Sunday and the other things I got, I have to tell you about the meetup. So Sorella and I did a meetup again for the short story scarf and the short story make along. And so the way meetups work at Rhinebeck is there's this place called The Hill. And The Hill is quite honestly just this random, inconspicuous hill that the first time I went last year, I really just had to ask somebody to point it out to me because I had no idea what this hill was. And then once you know, every time you walk by it throughout the day, you'll see different groups of people meeting up. And so that is where we did our meetup. So we had everyone meet on the hill and we got to chat and get to know everyone. And it was so special and so cool to see everyone that made the short story scarf with us. And there were people that traveled from, someone was from Europe, there was someone from the west side of the US. It was just so special and cool. And how often do you get those moments offline in person to connect with people like that. So if you came to that, or if you participated in the make along in any way, shape, or form, thank you so much. That was a huge highlight for me personally. So for the rest of the day on Saturday, I did a lot of mingling, a lot of chatting, a lot of catching up with people that I only get to see once a year. And so that is what I really like to do on Saturday, is just go with the flow, dedicate the day to chatting with people, eating the great food. There's lots of food vendors there. And as I mentioned, this year the weather was phenomenal. It was like sunny, 60, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So it was really nice, really comfortable outside. But it was definitely busier than last year, in my opinion. So the previous year was very rainy. And I don't know if maybe that like discouraged people from coming, but it felt like the nice weather this year brought even more people in. So you saw some lines were a little longer, vendors might be a little more crowded. There's still plenty of space if you need to find a quiet spot in the grass, which is where I chose to eat my lunch. Or, you know, the bathrooms, the lines still move very quickly and efficiently. But just be prepared if you ever do go to Rhinebeck. It is a lot of people. And one of the food vendors, I was waiting in line, they said they'd been coming for 19 years and that was the busiest they'd ever seen it. Whereas other people had said it's like this every year. So I'm not exactly sure. I've only been twice, but it does feel quite busy if you're not used to crowds or if you're not expecting it. So just something to keep in mind. And that is why I like to go in with low expectations. And again, this year, I just really picked out Junction Fiber Mill as my one vendor I was going to make a run for and go get that exclusive colorway. Now we're going to talk about Sunday. So there's 2 days to the New York Sheep and Wool Festival, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, I personally like to catch up with everyone, do a lot of chatting, a lot of browsing. And then Sunday is really where I shop a little bit more. And I'd already bought quite a bit of yarn, as you saw, from Junction Fiber Mill. So I knew I didn't want to get too much more yarn, and my stash is at a pretty good point right now, and I don't want it to feel too overwhelming. The good news is though, there are tons of other products there. And so I had a lot of fun picking out the next things that I'm going to show you. The first thing I got was this little notions pouch from Thread and Maple. This is made of leather and it's just the perfect little small, mighty notions pouch to put in your project bag. And it actually, so I'll show you this. This is so cool. So it has a nice little magnetic closure there, so it'll snap closed really nicely. And inside it comes with these 2 needles and these tiny little scissors here, which again, this is just perfect for any project bag, whether you're making a blanket or a tiny accessory. It's this small, compact, perfect little pouch. So I really like how snug and secure these items stay in here. And on the outside, we have a little zipper pouch that you could use for stitch markers. Wait a second. Oh, it actually comes with stitch markers. I didn't know this. Yeah, it comes with little knitting stitch markers. So I'll probably take these ones out since I crochet and I like stitch markers with a clasp. But if you knit, there's quite a few of these in the outside pouch as well, which is super nice. So again, this is from Thread and Maple. Absolutely love it. The next thing is something I wasn't planning on getting, but it was one of those perfect moments where you're walking by and something just catches your eye perfectly. And I love when that happens, especially as an indecisive person. It's just really fun when you have that moment where you're like, I think this was meant for me. And that is how I felt when I saw this project bag. So I have a lot of small project bags that fit 1 or 2 skeins, but ultimately my projects always outgrow them. If it's a blanket or a sweater, they just end up moving to a bigger bag and I never have a good bag. So I saw this project bag. This is from Prado de Lana Sheep Farm. And the bag is made by, the maker's name is on the inside. Tanny Casey, I think I'm pronouncing that right. And she makes all kinds of bags. I had no idea. This was a new discovery for me, but she has so many incredible well-made bags. And this one in particular was made just for this sheep farm in their booth. So they also had yarns in there and other products. And this bag, it's made of wool. I think it's like a wool blanket. They were telling me that they have the wool sourced from like a specific place. And then they commissioned Tanny Casey to make these bags just for them. So they're different than her other bags. We have these really nice leather handles. So they're really soft and supple. And then on the inside, there are a couple pockets in there, which I love, and a nice canvas interior. And I love this. It's gonna be perfect for larger projects. I can't wait. And I really liked that the straps were kind of shorter so that it would stay a project bag for me and not just become a giant tote bag that I would just start throwing stuff in. I have a toddler, so I didn't want it to become, a makeshift diaper bag of sorts, or where you're throwing in lots of kids' snacks or things like that. I wanted this to be a very special project bag. And so that is exactly what I didn't know I needed, but was so excited to find. So I'm going to cherish this for a very long time. Now, I did mention my daughter, who is such a fun person to shop for. So I always go and try and get her some gifts. And one of the things I love about the New York Sheep and Wool Festival is they have a fantastic selection of books. And all the books are in one area. So there's kind of like long tables. Some of the authors are there to actually sign the books when you purchase them, and you can pick up as many books as you want. And then there's one checkout spot for any and all the books you get. So I got 2 books this year. I got her Baba Black Sheep, which is so cute. I got another book by this author last year. It was Mary Had a Little Lamb. And she just does these darling illustrations and kind of mixes up the words, or in this case, the lyrics to the song in the book. And it's just a lot of fun, and my daughter loves them. So I got her Baba Black Sheep. And then for myself, I saw this book, which is Every Way with Granny Crochet. And this book is so stunning. And I really want to do more granny stitch and granny square projects. Just hold still for a second. I'm going to tell you something just between you and me. I've never made a granny square. Don't ask me how. It's just one of those things where when you've never made one before, then I feel like the first time I do it, it has to be for something really extraordinary, which is, I don't know. I should really just go for it and do it. But I saw this book and I thought, this is what's going to help me take the leap. And I have a feeling once I start making granny squares, I'm not going to be able to stop. So let me just show you some of the inside of the book. Let's find a fun page here. Look at this. It's just beautifully designed. I really thought it was so well done, and I just love the style of the book. And look at the charts in there. I love a chart. I find it very, very helpful, especially for something like a granny square, to help understand the layout, what the stitches are telling you through the written part of the pattern, and how it all works up together. So I was really excited to find this. The next couple of things I got, again with my daughter in mind, was a little project bag for her. Isn't this the cutest thing? I can't remember who made this bag. Let's see. Okay, it's called the Crafty Bamster. And my daughter loves to pretend to crochet. She actually saw this one immediately when I got home. It was kind of poking out of the bag. So the rest of these things I'm saving as gifts for her. But she saw this one as soon as I got home, and she already has her project in it. So I basically made her a little crochet swatch. And she loves to put her project in here whenever I'm crocheting, and she loves to pretend to crochet. So it's the cutest thing ever. And she was so excited she got a little project bag. So this was for her. And then the other thing I got for her was this wool vest. It has a cute little zipper here and these cute little pockets. And I think she's going to absolutely love it. They had all different colors and styles. It was very cute. And this is from It says Awero, the Wool Factory. I think. I don't know. I'll try and put that in the description. I didn't quite catch the name in person, but all kinds of wool vests. And I saw these there last year and they were sold out of the sizes that I would have wanted. So this year I made a point to see if they had one. And I was so glad they did for her. The last thing I had to get for my daughter was blue yarn. Blue is her favorite color and she asked me to get her blue yarn. So of course I was going to do that. And I got her blue yarn from Primrose Yarn Company, and this bag came free with my yarn purchase. It's a really cute, thin little black tote bag, and I'm not gonna lie, I kept being really drawn to this bag when I walked by, and that is what drew me into the booth, which is where I found her the perfect blue yarn. So let me show you. This is Primrose Yarn Cloud 9. I think the colorway is Cloud 9, and then it says Crea DK, which is 80% baby Surrey alpaca and 20% acrylic. It is so soft and it's just buttery soft. And I can't wait. I think I'm gonna make my daughter a hat out of this. I thought it was the perfect, cute little periwinkle blue. And yeah, once I touched it, I had to get it for her. It's just perfect. So that is everything I got from the New York Sheep and Wool Festival. It was such an incredible time. Going last year gave me a lot better lay of the land of what to expect and what I might find. And then this year, I feel like that helped me make decisions a lot easier as I was shopping around and deciding what I was going to take home with me. There was one more event that I went to, and this was a very cool bonus event. This was a dinner hosted by Hobbii, and Hobbii and Tony of Teal Yarn Crafts got together and put this amazing dinner together with tons of people from the industry. So there was a lot of designers there and just different people in the yarn world that were so much fun to chat with over dinner. And I'm gonna show you, when I walked into this event, they handed me a swag bag of yarn. Do you see the size of this? Okay, so you already know this is like the dream event to go to, that you walk in and someone hands you a bag of yarn like this, and everyone got these. So I actually went through, my mom again was with me, so we went through and I took some of the yarn out of her bag, and I'm gonna show you some of my favorites that I got because I was so excited. And I was like, Mom, can I please have these couple of yarns from yours if you're not going to use them? And so we did a little bit of trading. So the yarn I was so excited to see there was Happy Place Apricity, which is Tony of Teal Yarn Crafts, her new yarn line with Hobbii. This yarn is just so squishy and delightful. And again, my daughter asked for blue yarn, so it worked out perfectly. I got a couple of blues in my bag and then this gorgeous charcoal that is just stunning. And then I also got a yarn I can't believe I haven't tried before, but I got Happy Place, the original Happy Place, which is a cotton wool blend. And look I got 3 skeins in blue. It was so exciting. So I'm definitely going to have to make my daughter like a little summer top or something out of these. It is an absolutely stunning yarn. I can't believe how soft it is. And it's a really nice light DK weight. So it'll be perfect for springtime, summertime. You could do winter. Honestly, this yarn I would use for just about anything. It's so gorgeous. So I think I did pretty good getting her blue yarn, if I do say so myself. I was very excited about that. And then I do have a couple other yarns in here. I got Friends Wool, which is 100% wool. I think this is probably a 50-gram skein, I would guess. Yep, 50-gram skein, 109 yarns. So this would be fun for a little project. And then I also got this Friends Kid Silk, which I just thought this color was so much fun. So those were just a few of the yarns. There's actually more in the bag, but I filtered out so I could show you a few of my absolute favorites. And I did get Happy Place and a couple other colors too. This was a dream. This was a dream. The food was great, the company was great, the hosting was great, and coming home with yarn from it, you just can't ask for anything better than that. So that was a really fun, cool, special event to go to. I've had a fantastic experience at Rhinebeck both years I got to go, and I just feel so lucky. What a privilege to be able to attend and get to experience it in person. Now, I want to leave you with a couple tips if you ever plan to attend Rhinebeck. The first being, book as early as you can. Like I mentioned earlier, for Untangled, I didn't book until the last minute, so I got the last time slot of the day. It worked out just fine, but it would be nice to have a little more selection. So that goes with the events as well as any accommodations you're planning, whether a hotel, an Airbnb, or whether you're planning to stay with friends. It's really nice to get those things situated ahead of time because I've noticed prices will go up and your selection might be a little smaller based on the timing that you book something. So again, it's nice to do, but you can also get there last minute, plan it a few weeks ahead, and you'll still be able to have an amazing time. On the same note, one thing that has really made my experience so wonderful is bringing my mom. If you have a yarn friend and you have the opportunity to stay together or meet up at Rhinebeck, I think it's just so much fun to share with a close friend that you can experience the event with. But even if you don't know anyone, it's so much fun and you're going to bump into people that you know, whether it's designers or other makers or just chatting with the vendors. Like I mentioned, last year I discovered Junction Fiber Mill there, and just in chatting with them, they've become one of my favorite yarn companies and millcasts or podcasts to follow. So try and go with a friend if you can, but even if you can't, just be open-minded and there will be so many connections and cool people to meet along the way. This tip is very logistical, but make sure that you stay comfortable and hydrated. Now, that means comfortable shoes, that means layering so that you're not too hot or not too cold, as well as making sure you have snacks or any other special items you might need. It can be a long couple of days with a lot of standing, waiting in lines sometimes, so just something to keep in mind to keep yourself comfortable in whatever way that you need to. The last tip I have for you is to make a plan that works for you. And overall, as you've probably gathered, my plan is going with the flow. I don't add in too much structure. I don't have too many items on a checklist that I want to get. I find that if I can keep my expectations a little bit lower, that way if lines are too long or if I accidentally miss over something, I'm not disappointed in the way that I would be if I had a specific list of criteria of things that I wanted to get. Now, it does help to have somewhat of a concept. For example, my mom likes to go with some projects picked out as well as yardage and yarn weights that she would need for each project. And that helps her buy exactly the yarn that she was looking for. For me, I didn't have any specific projects in mind. I only had a little bit of yarn I wanted to get. So I was able to get that and then enjoy all the other items and things I wanted to see, like the project bag, the notions pouch, the books. Those extra items really mean a lot to me, and I was excited to, again, just stay open-minded and find what I could, and I am so happy with everything that I was able to get. So when you're thinking of your plan, really just make it right for you. Think of your stash, think of what you need, and think of the things that maybe you don't need. Maybe you already have too many project bags or too much worsted weight yarn and you want something DK. Just try and come up with something that you're gonna feel good about to help you stay focused, but also open-minded throughout all the shopping and all the amazing vendors that you're about to see. I've had so much fun getting to share a little bit of my Rhinebeck experience with you, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. I, again, can't recommend Rhinebeck enough. If this sounds like the type of event that you might be interested in or have a good time, I highly recommend it. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Once again, I'll link everything in the description box so you can find more information there. And be sure to like and subscribe while you're here. And until my next video, you can find me over on Instagram at Woods and Wool. Thank you so much for watching.